How's it going? Today we're diving into Excel for beginners, a complete walkthrough. All the way from downloading the software to using functions, tables, and even creating simple graphics. Whether you're brand new to Excel or just need a quick refresher, this video will get you started. Now without further ado, let's get into it. Before we can get started with anything, we first need to download Excel. If you're using Windows or Mac, you can get Excel as part of a Microsoft 365. Just go to office.com, then sign in or create an account and choose your plan. There's also the free Office 365 version available online. Once we have downloaded Excel, we can open it up and we are met with this screen. On the left-hand side, we have some options to create new workbooks, and on the top right, we have some templates we can choose from. For now, let's just go ahead and select blank workbook. When you open a new Excel workbook, you'll first notice this toolbar at the top, which is known as the ribbon. This includes tabs such as Home, Insert, Page Layout, and more. The Home tab is where you will spend the bulk of your time and includes many options for formatting. The Insert tab contains lots of add-ins such as graphs, charts, and images. The Page Layout tab allows you to customize how the spreadsheet is viewed, adjusting features such as margins or printing size. The Formulas tab is where you will find all of your functions, which will come in handy later on in this video. If we look to the top of our screen, we see it reads Book 1, Excel. This is the name of our workbook. If we go up and double click this, we are able to change the name. Let's call this one Excel Practice Workbook. Now, if we focus our attention back down to the spreadsheet, we see all these little rectangles. Each one of these little boxes is known as a cell. This is where we input all of our data in Excel. On the top along here, we have some letters, which are the columns. Along the side here, we have numbers, which are our rows. If we look here in the top left corner, we see it says A1. This refers to the currently selected cell. If we move around, we see this reference change. The letter refers to the column and the number to the row. If you look down here, we see it says Sheet 1. The sheet is the current tab we are working in. If we want to rename it, we simply double click it and type in a new name. Let's call this tab Practice Home. If we want to add in more sheets, we click this plus button to the right of it. Up here we see this bar, which is known as the formula bar. Whenever we type in any formulas, functions, or text in Excel, they will be visible here. Having an understanding of the Excel interface is essential for using Excel. We're now ready to move on to the next step, which is navigation. Knowing how to navigate through Excel can save you hours of time. The most basic way to move throughout Excel is by using your mouse to select cells you want to go to. This, however, can become very tedious. An easier way is to use the arrows on your keyboard. The right and left arrows move your reference horizontally, and the up and down move you vertically. Another method is that if you are in a cell and hit enter, it will move your reference down one cell, or it may also repeat a pattern you were entering before in your data. If you hit tab, it will move you one cell to the right. If you hit shift plus tab, this will move you one cell to the left. If you would like to hit enter after typing in data but remain in your current cell, you can do this by hitting Control plus enter. If you are at the beginning of a table and would like to navigate to the last row, hitting Control plus a down arrow will take you there. You can get back to the top by hitting Control plus up. You can get to the rightmost cell by hitting Control plus right, and the leftmost by typing Control plus left. If you are lost in your worksheet and want to quickly get to cell A1, hitting Control plus Home will take you there. Additionally, you can get to any cell in your worksheet by typing it into the cell reference into the top left and hitting Enter. In the bottom right corner, we see there are these plus and minus arrows. These are for zooming in and out. Holding Control and scrolling your mouse wheel also has the same effect. Finally, using just the mouse wheel scrolls your workbook up and down. However, pressing Control plus Shift and scrolling with the mouse wheel moves you side to side. Now that we have a more advanced knowledge on navigation, we're ready to move on to the next part of this lesson, which is data formatting. Data formatting is one of the most important yet underrated features in Excel. Understanding how to organize and present your data is oftentimes even more important than the data itself. We're going to start off by working with an example. We have an income statement here that encompasses a couple of years. Straight away, we notice that it is not very easy to look at, so we're going to want to format it to make it better to read. The first thing we can do is adjust the column widths. If we put our mouse in between these two columns here, we see this double-sided arrow appear, and we can adjust the widths of the columns. We can also just double-click in this line in between the row headers and it will auto-fit. Highlighting an entire selection performs the process for all the columns. The same can be done for rows as well. Next, what we're going to want to do is set the income statement heading. If we highlight this cell along with all these others up here and then select Merge and Center, then these cells will all merge together and give us a nice looking header. Next, what we're going to want to do is change the font and background color of the top row, which contains the years. In order to do this, we need to highlight this entire top row. We can do so by selecting the leftmost column and pressing Ctrl, Shift, and the right arrow key. We can also just drag our mouse over the entire selection. Now that we have this highlighted, we want to change the fill color. We do this by selecting the fill color option in the home page. We can now change the fill to whatever color we want and can even use a color gradient if we select more colors. Let's hit OK and we are done. Now let's change our font color. We do this in a very similar way. Let's make sure the entire selection is highlighted and select font color. We can then change this in the same way. Let's not bold these headers. We can either do this by highlighting our data and selecting the letter B, or we can also press Ctrl plus B. Either one of these will bold our text. Now that we're done with the header, let's go ahead and format these numbers. We see they're in different formats throughout the table. Let's go up here and select number format and then currency. We are able to increase or decrease the decimals by selecting these two options here. Those should get you through the basics of cell formatting. However, there are countless ways to display and interact with your data. Next, we're going to look at some basic mathematics. And understanding the basic mathematics is key to mastering Excel. We're going to look at the same example we had before. We have our income statement better formatted now. However, there are still some blanks in our key calculations. Let's start off with our gross profit for 2020, which is our total revenues less our costs of goods sold. We always start functions with an equal sign. In this instance, we are going to do total revenues minus total cost of goods sold and hit enter. This gives us our gross profit. While we could go through the remaining 4 years and do the same formula, we can also put our mouse in the bottom right corner here, and when this little cross pops up, we can drag it across the next 4 years and it will compute gross profit for those years. Let's now do the same thing for our operating income, which is our gross profit less any operating expenses. We're going to hit equals, then gross profit, minus our SG&A, and then minus our depreciation. Let's hit enter, and we get our answer. We could drag this formula across the same way we did before, or we could also use another shortcut. If we hit Shift plus the right arrow until we get to 2024, and then press Control plus R, the formula will copy itself all the way across. Let's do the same process for our earnings before taxes and our net income. Another detail we could do is add borders to this income statement before our calculations. If we highlight the entire cost of goods sold and select borders, we can choose from a variety of options. Let's go ahead and select this bottom border option. Once we have this properly formatted, we can copy this entire highlighted area and paste it in the depreciation row above our operating income. We do this by pressing Ctrl plus C and then coming over to the depreciation row and pressing Ctrl plus V. We quickly see that we lose our input that was here before, so what we have to do is press Ctrl, and then we have plenty of options for pasting. Let's go down here and select formatting, and we see the format successfully transfers. Let's do the same process for our remaining calculations. We now have a complete and cleanly formatted income statement. Let's move on to some other more advanced calculations. We're going to practice our mathematical science by working with some common scenarios. Division is done by using the left slash key. Let's say we have exam marks and we would like to see what our grade is as a percentage. To do this, we press equals, and then our number of questions correct, then the left slash, and then the total number of questions. Let's hit enter, and we have our answer. If we want to format this in a percentage, we could press Ctrl+1 and then select percentage here. We do multiplication by pressing the asterisk key. Let's say we want to know how many total bags we have based on this information about boxes. We would hit equals and then select our total number of boxes, then the asterisk, then our number of bags per box. This will give us our answer. Addition is done by pressing the plus sign. In this example, we can do equals 2023 miles run plus our 2024 miles run, which gives us our total. Subtraction is done by using the dash key. In this example, we just press equals the beginning of year balance minus our cash spent, which gives us our answer. You can also hard code all of these formulas by typing in direct numbers as opposed to cell references. For example, you could do equals 1.1 times 10 for multiplication, or we could type in our test score and divide it by 50 instead of referencing cells. Now that we have the basic mathematics out of the way, let's look into some formulas. We have a table here with data for various people's weights. If we want to calculate the mean for this data, we would use the average formula. This formula is different from the median, which is calculated using the median function. Let's go ahead and type equals average and then do an open parentheses and highlight all of the data from only our weight column. We hit enter and then we have the average weight for this sample. Let's also do the median as well. If we want to find the smallest value, we would do the formula equals min. This finds the minimum value in the data set. Let's type equals min, then an open parentheses and highlight the same set of data and press enter. If we want the largest value, we do the same process, this time with the formula equals max. We also have this table here showing our cash balances in various accounts. If we want to see the total sum of our cash accounts, we type in the formula equals sum, add a parentheses, highlight all of our cash balances, and press enter. Summing up data can, however, become quickly repetitive. An easy shortcut is to use AutoSum. If you go into the cell below all of your data and press Alt plus equals, it will AutoSum these numbers for you. Now that we've mastered the basics for mathematics, we are ready to move on to some display features. We again have some data in a sort of tabular format. While this does make the data easy to understand, we can take it one step further and convert this data into a table. Tables are excellent tools in Excel as they allow you to easily sort and filter your data. To create a table, we select anywhere in our data, go to Insert, and select Table. We see our table is highlighted by these dashed lines so we know the source is correct. Pay close attention to this My Table Has Headers box. If our table didn't have these headers located here at the top, we would deselect this. However, we can leave it be for now as we do have our headers. Once we hit OK, we see our table is created. You can customize your table in various ways under the Table Design tab, changing the colors, fonts, borders, and other features. What we want to focus on here are the filter buttons. If we click on these triangle icons in the header, we are met with this prompt. We are able to sort the data in countless ways, whether it's alphabetical, numerical, chronological, or any other way. If we want to sort by the largest sales first, we would go to the total amount and filter for largest to smallest. If we would like to filter for only Dame Johnson's sales, we would click in the sales agent and deselect everybody else. There are countless other ways you can filter data to fit your exact needs, all of which can be done with the table filters. Now that we have our tables out of the way, let's move on to some graphics. Graphics are one of the most effective ways to display data in Excel. To create graphics, we can select anywhere in our table, go to Insert, and head to the Chart section. We see there is a section for recommended charts, as well as individual types of charts we can choose. Let's start off by talking about some of the basic charts. These can be summed up as follows. Let's look at our sales example. We're going to choose a line chart and then hit enter. We are able to move our graph around and adjust the size by using these toggles on the borders and corners. If we would like to move our chart, we can copy and paste it to other parts of our workbook. If we hit this plus button in the top right, we are able to add and remove different features from the graph. We can also change how the graph looks by making changes in the Chart Design tab. If we double-click into our chart, we are taken to a chart formatting area where we can adjust borders, fonts, text, and countless other designs. Now that we have the graphics basics out of the way, let's move on to some shortcuts. Excel is ruled by those who have an understanding of shortcuts. These can save users hours of time over the course of just a day and are useful in making spreadsheets cleaner. Many of these shortcuts may be used by you in your daily life, and they can certainly make it simpler. There are also more advanced shortcuts you can use, which almost entirely eliminate the use of a mouse. If we select our table and hit the Alt button, you see some letters appear in the tabs above. Each of these corresponds to a tab in the ribbon. If we hit H, it will take us into the Home tab. Once we do this, we see a new subset of letters appear. Let's select L for conditional formatting, and we can see another subset of letters. We can go further into conditional formatting, and eventually we are able to format all cells greater than $3,500. We did this without even touching our mouse. Shortcuts are key to mastering Excel. If you are interested in a free copy of the shortcut cheat sheet, go ahead and click the link in the description. Let's now move on to saving and filing our work. Saving and filing your spreadsheets are some of the most simple yet overlooked aspects of Excel. To save your work, simply press Ctrl+S or this button in the top left corner. If you'd like to save a copy to your desktop, go to File and then select Save a Copy, and you can choose your destination. Similarly, if you'd like to share your work, go to File and then Share, and you can choose the contacts you'd like to send your workbooks to. You can easily print your worksheet by just pressing Ctrl+P and then working through this prompt. Those are the basics for saving and filing your workbooks. With these under your belt, you are officially ready to get started off in Excel. That wraps up our beginner's guide to Excel. From installing the software to working with formulas, tables, and charts, you're now ready to start using Excel more confidently. Don't forget to check out the first link below to get a free copy of the shortcut cheat sheet from the video. We also have some spreadsheets available at the second link, ranging from personal expense trackers to net worth trackers. These sheets can help you create and maintain wealth for years to come. If you found this helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more quick and easy Excel tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.